Ahoy mateys, and welcome back to the Pittsburgh Pirates Out of the Park Baseball 25 playthrough. We are entering the end of June, beginning of July, and we have just had a good streak of games in our last episode. In this one, I'm a little under the weather this week, so I'm actually only going to play one game here. We're going to go against Atlanta, who I believe right now is the best team in the major leagues. Let's take a quick look and confirm that. And it looks like, yes, indeed, at 59-20, it is easily the Atlanta Braves' best team in the league. So we're going to go up against Clevenger. I think we have decent pitching matchups against them. The Fried matchup, not great, but Elder has only had one start this year, and it was absolutely terrible for him. Could be a victory for us, but that'll probably be a 50-50 game. But we got Clevenger against Roansy Contreras to start things off. So we're going to go ahead and play that game. But really quickly, I just wanted to focus on a couple quick things for those of you who are playing and want to learn some not obvious things going on with the game. One of them is I was watching Sportsman Z's Kansas City Royals playthrough and noticed that he had a different I think it was his manager homepage, manager's off his screen, but I'm on my team homepage here because I forgot that these are actually modular and you can change some of the things you're looking at. And I wanted to change a couple of those. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually do chemistry and cohesion just to make sure I have happy guys on my team and in my organization. I wish it would show a little bit more information than that, but for the most part, I'm happy with where that is. And I'm going to switch off team roster since I know what's going on there. We're going to switch that to who's hot and who's not. And I'm actually going to make that a 1x1 instead of a 2x1, which gives me a whole extra box down here. You can go through and just kind of, toggle around and see what you want to go with. And for here, I'm actually going to change the one up here because I would rather have that be team position rankings. And this will show where we are in the league based on our overall positioning for our overall health for that positioning. So you can see our catchers were 8th in the league, Rowdy Tellez, in our first baseman 13th. Second base is where we struggle the most, clearly. It's one of the reasons we went out and got Nick Gordon. It'll also show you your top player in every position. And I think this is based solely on where your top player ranks among the rest of the league. So, 28th pitching staff is mainly because even though we have a good farm system, our starters at the pro level are not quite there just yet. But it's an easy way to highlight what we need to be looking for moving forward. On the topic of our pitchers, I actually went through just before this game started, and I went through my pitching staff and just made sure that I was hyper-focusing on my player developments for my pitchers. Again, I'm not 100% sure how this works as far as its effectiveness moving forward, but I wanted to draw people's attention to this again because it is a brand new feature in this game, and it should hopefully give us some fruitful results as things go forward. So, for example, here, because he had a little bit of a his movement potential is a little bit higher than control, I think I'm actually going to lower his control a bit and crank that movement up a little bit more. And because his fastball should be his dominant pitch, I have that a little bit higher, and I'm actually going to drop stamina down just a smidge more so I can get a couple clicks up on those other pitches. Again, we'll monitor this and see where this goes moving forward and how effective that is. I went through and I actually adjusted that for our top pitching prospects, so Solometo, Ashcraft, I am in AA right there, Jared Jones and Quentin Priester, Max Meyer, and down in A+, Bubba Chandler. I adjusted it for all of those guys so you can see a little bit. I'll use Bubba Chandler as another example. I dropped his stamina down since he's already got pretty healthy stamina, and I tried to make sure that his fastball changeup combo was strong since he doesn't have a ton of movement, so I want to make sure that I'm maximizing his stuff with the fastball changeup as much as possible. His control was a little bit lower, so I didn't favor it, and I'm actually even going to drop it down just a little bit more and try and go in that direction. So something to look at if you're wondering why guys are not developing the way you would like. It's something that you can specifically target. There's actually a good example of this in my single A team. I was looking at one of our top batting prospects, Lonnie White Jr., and in his development, it favored his defense a ton, which is good because he can be a great defensive player at all three outfield positions. So I want to focus on that, but it had his running closer to here, and I dropped it way down because he's already a decent runner and he doesn't seem to have a ton of potential in that, and I really wanted to focus on developing his power and eye, since those are, based on my scouting reports, his top two spots. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go back to our team home screen and we will queue up our game against Atlanta. We're going to do this first game, Roansy Contreras against Mike Clevenger, and if I can escape this series with one win, I will be happy with that. And I think of all the games, this is the game that we are most likely to win. Looks like we have Connor Joe pinch hitting at DH for us today instead of our regular DH Andrew McCutchen. Grandal's in at catcher over Henry Davis based on our rotation. So let's go ahead and give it a whirl and see how we fare. All right. And our first hitter of the game is O'Neal Cruz, flying out into left field. We're going to get the big block of text here. Atlanta starts with one easy out on the very first pitch. All right. Brian Reynolds hitting in the 2 spot. 3-1 count. Makes contact deep into the gap, but I think it's going to be playable, and it is. Nice sliding catch for Michael Harris. And Jack Sawinski in the 3 spot. He's on a cold streak. Let's see if he can break out of it in this one. And unfortunately, he looks at strike 3 to end the top of the first. Right now, here comes Contreras, who is on a cold streak, so we might have to hook him quickly in this one, but we'll see. Hoping that the play game can get him back on the right track. Starts the game with a lead-off single, which of course is not what you're looking for. I'm going to throw it first. Ozzie Albies up here. Full count. Makes contact out into center field. Sawinski should be able to get under it, and he does. One away. Throws it over to first. Wow. I guess he got a pretty healthy lead there. Ronald Acuna Jr., the best player in baseball. Looks like he took ball 2, and Harris successfully got that stolen base. All right, 2-2 count. Pitch incoming, man in scoring position, and Acuna does make contact, advances the runner over to third, but should be a ground out. Strong play by Nick Gordon. That brings us Matt Olson. We have Austin Riley on deck. I might intentionally walk into Riley. I think the last time we played Atlanta, I made a decision like that, and it ended up pretty poorly, but I think I'm going to do it again. It's just a numbers game kind of thing. Olson on first. First pitch to Riley. Makes contact out into center field. Sawinski charges, and he won't be able to get to it. Runners on the corners again. That gamble did not pay off, but didn't do any more damage, or at least not yet. Sean Murphy up now. He'll make contact, and that is going to be a 3-run homer, and there you go. I spoke too soon. It is now 4-0 Atlanta in the first inning, and our hopes that Roansy Contreras was going to calm down. Not happening. Jared Kalenic up next. That should be out number 3, but the damage has been done. And on just 3 hits, Atlanta has a very healthy lead to start the game. Marty Tellez to start things off in the second. Makes contact, but not enough. Should be an out, and it is. Acuna easily gets under it, 1 away. Eddie Olivares in the 5 spot with the full count. And he strikes out, swinging at the... I don't know if that was the 6th pitch. I was going to say the 6th pitch, but could have had some foul balls. You never know. Nick Gordon hitting 3rd in the inning. Slow roller right up the middle, and he'll get on base. You might think about sending him here. Actually, just going to swing away, see what happens. Brian Hayes strikes out, and that is the top of the 2nd. Nothing doing for the Bucks. Marcell Ozuna up now, who was absolutely hammering the ball in real life earlier this year. With a little bloop single out into left to start things off. Orlando Arcia is going to make contact. Could be a double play, but it won't be. They'll just get him out over at first. 1 down, and we have another runner in scoring position now. Here comes Michael Harris. Strikes out, strike 3. And Ozzy Albies. Ooh, hit by a pitch on an 0-2 count. Never like to see that, especially with Acuna on deck. And with the 2-2 count, Acuna does make contact. It will drop in. Could be 2 RBI. It looks like it will only be just to the 1. Albies stands put up at second. It is now 5-0. And here comes Matt Olson, who walked in his last at bat intentionally. He'll strike out looking there. So, a much tougher situation for Contreras in that inning. Gets out of it, but didn't. Obviously, he gave up the big home run in the first, which is what really did him in my poor decision to do the intentional walk. All right, we'll start off the 3rd with a single. That is our sub-DH Connor Joe getting on base early. Yasmani Grandal will just undo it as quickly as it started with a double play, grounding out to second base. And O'Neal Cruz on the first pitch again, making contact and getting through. So we do have ourselves a base runner. Another 2-out single. And we'll send him this time. Not going to go. Looked like a ball. Try one more time. Looks like a strike. And with 2 attempts, doesn't seem worth it. So I will actually do a hit and run here. Makes contact, fouls it off. And Reynolds shooting it out into right field. That is a 2-run homer. Mammoth shot. And we're back in it just a little. Not all the way, but with 2 outs, getting 2 runs in certainly means something. Cuts the lead down to 3. And Sowinski makes contact, but it was in on the short part of his bat. Goes out in foul territory. Easy for Acuna to grab it, and Clevenger gets out of the 3rd with just a little bit of damage. Let's see how Contreras does going into the 3rd. He's given up runs in both innings so far. If you can get through 1 without giving up a run, I think that'll be a big victory for us. Riley grounds out over to 3rd to start the 3rd. Sean Murphy with that mammoth home run in the 1st. Takes the walk there. Kalenic, another full count. This time makes contact out into center. Sowinski charging in but can't get to it. It's another, I think that's the 3rd time that's happened to Sowinski out there in center. Maybe we should be playing him in a little. All right, Ozuna strikes out. And here comes Arcia. 1-0 count. Makes contact out into right center. Olivares easily gets underneath it, and there you go. Contreras gets his first goose egg on the board, even though he did give up 2 hits. Or, sorry, a hit and a walk. Through 3, 5-2 score. Here comes Rowdy Tellez, our best hitter so far. And he will take the walk there. Good chuck swing. See if Olivares can do anything with that. Looks like an easy fly out to Harrison center. Clevenger gets his first out of the inning. Nick Gordon, who's been a little hot for us, but not super hot. He'll fly out into right. And here comes Brian Hayes. Struck out his last at bat, and he'll strike out this one too. All right. Nothing going in the fourth there. And now Ronzi Contreras back on the mound. This will probably be his last inning, just looking at his pitch count and how Atlanta has been hitting the ball. Albie's up 0-2 count. Open for the strikeout, and he'd get it. Nick Harris is going to steal here. And Grandal takes forever. Grandpa Yasmani. All right, so we got a runner in scoring position. Acuna makes contact. Same thing he did in the first inning where he rounded out to the second baseman. And I'm not going to walk Olsen this time. I learned my lesson, I think. And either way, Matt Olsen gets the RBI this time. So one does come across. 6-2 now. Austin Riley up with the full count. And he's walking. Now here comes Sean Murphy with 2 in scoring position again. And this is where you got to think about getting Ronzi out of here. I'm going to visit the mound. Says he thinks that's about all he's got. Let's see if he can get this one last out. Murphy strikes out. No 3-run homer for him there. And gets out of that with just 1 run. So really just the Murphy home run has been the real damage done. But we're still down 4. Connor Joe had the single in his last at bat, but he'll strike out there. Following up with Yasmani Grandal. Makes contact, should fall in, and it does. Nice little easy single out into right. O'Neal Cruz, 1-1 count, and it looks like this might be a ground into a double play, but it is not. Just the 1 out. We do have the base runner. See if I can send him. He does go, but he changes his mind. We were playing this game a little last time. Ended up being a home run. This time it will just be a ground out to second. And that is the halfway point of the game. 6-2 Braves, and here comes our decision on who we want to pitch. I think we're going to go with the lefty Perez. We'll see how far he can go. Full count for his first batter. The spicy Jared Kelenic. Grounds out to the catcher to start the inning. I called him spicy because he's got that spicy flame hot pepper over there because he is on fire right now. Ozuna takes the walk. So he's had a single walk and strikeout in this game. Arcia strikes out for the second out of the inning. And here comes Harris, grounding out to the pitcher. That's why we went with the lefty. And it worked out. So a goose egg in the bottom of the 5th. Exactly what we were hoping for. Swinski to lead off the 6th, and he strikes out. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Rowdy Tellez up next, 2-2 count. And he strikes out. I think he's got the Ozuna special going on too. Strikeout, walk, and single. Olivares, our third batter, and with the 3-0 count, he will take a 4-pitch walk. And Nick Gordon, let's see if we can do anything with him. Reynaldo Lopez has come in relief. And Nick Gordon, I think it's going to hang up, and it does. Michael Harris with a sliding Sports Center highlight reel grab. Might make the top 10 there. Sports Center still do the top 10? I haven't watched Sports Center in like 10 years. All right, Martin Perez to start things off again for us in the bottom of the 6th. Yeah, I'll keep him in. No harm, no foul at this point. Our bats really aren't coming alive, so I'd like to keep us in the game, but I'm at this point more interested in not burning out my relief pitchers. Walks Acuna there. Go ahead and throw it first, just to keep him a little bit honest. He's a stealing machine. He had over 70 last year, right? Contact for, I think that was Austin Riley. It is. I think Acuna might be able to make it home on this one, but they'll hold him up at third. And at the corners here for Sean Murphy. We've seen this story before. 1-0 count, makes contact. It's going to be in the same spot he hit that home run, but much, much shorter. Brian Reynolds gets under it, and that will be the 6th inning. And Brian Hayes here to start off the 7th. We need a 3rd strikeout of the game. He is indeed. Yikes. Maybe we got to work on his avoid Ks in his development tree. Connor Joe up 2nd. Makes contact out into center field. Out number 2. And Yasmani Grandal. 2-2 count. He's striking out. Good inning for Reynaldo Lopez. All right, so I think we'll keep Perez in for a little bit, but we'll probably have to go to Ortiz. I'll actually get Borucki going too, just in case. And our first batter, Jared Kalenic, makes contact. That was the main reason that I had kept Perez in, is to avoid that from happening. Marcell Ozuna over to first, and we could get that double play. Love to see that. 3-6-3 double play. Tellez to Cruz, back to Tellez. And Arcia makes contact. Should be the 3rd out, and that'll be 3 strong innings for Martin Perez. So not bad. 8 up a bunch. Time I'm going to sit those guys just so they don't get tired, but hopefully I remember to put them back in after I get my 2nd out here. O'Neal Cruz with the 3-1 count to start off the 8th, and he takes the walk. And we'll get him stealing here. Oh, they're keeping him close. No throw from Sean Murphy, and that is the 13th steal of the season for O'Neal. Full count to Brian Reynolds, makes contact right down the 3rd baseline, gets past Austin Riley. O'Neal Cruz is going home, and we have an RBI double as Brian Reynolds slides into 2nd base. So the Bucks keeping things alive. And that's from our should-be best hitter, Brian Reynolds, so you like to see that. Tyler Matzek comes into Jack Sawinski, and I think because of the lefty, I might, and because Sawinski's ice cold right now, might go with a pinch hit situation, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're going to have Henry Davis come hit for us. 1-2 count to Davis. And he strikes out, unfortunately. Rowdy Tellez following that up. Makes contact. It'll be an out, but he does advance the runner. Not super necessary since a single should have brought Reynolds in from 2nd. Either way, Eddie Olivares up next, and I think that's going to be an RBI. It is. So Olivares gets the 2nd RBI of the inning, playing a little bit of small ball here in the 8th. And this is where we go back to our guys. And instead of Borucki, I'm actually going to go with Chapman now since the lead is getting a little closer. Nick Gordon, let's see what he can do here. Striking out. The 3rd out of the inning, but we do 2. Cut the lead in half. We have an incomplete lineup because Henry Davis cannot play center. And oddly enough, Henry Davis can't even play right field, even though that's what he played most of last year. So come on, out of the park, baseball. Get that together. Put Palacios out there in center. That makes the most sense. Turn to the game. And Martin Perez. I'll give him one last batter. Get the lefty on lefty action here. Harris makes contact, gets through. And I think we'll just go straight to Ortiz here now. Chapman will sit. First pitch, Harris is going. No throw. Or I guess it was a throw. Didn't look like a throw. Full count to Albies. Runner in scoring position. We'd like to get the strikeout here. Then we get an easy pop out. Skies it up to our second baseman, Nick Gordon. That's one away. Effectively the same thing as a strikeout. Acuna up next. And he goes down swinging. And I think it makes the most sense to walk Matt Olson here with the available base. Last time I did this, I instantly regretted it. But we'll see here. Austin Riley makes contact. Should be out number 3. Makes the throw. Ke'Bryan Hayes, our gold glove third baseman, puts him away. And it is a save situation now for Rizal Iglesias. Ke'Bryan Hayes has struck out 3 times today. See if it becomes 4. 1-2 count. Not looking good. But he does make contact, and that is a single. He's 1 pitch away from that golden sombrero, and instead he is on base. He represents our tying run now at the plate in Connor Joe. Debating if I want to do a pinch hitter here. I'm going to vote against it, and hopefully he does not strike out. Of course he does. 1 down. Now it's Manny Grandal up next, and he will walk. So now we have the tying run on base. Neil Cruz could blow this game wide open here. And instead, he grounds out to the catcher. Oh, he actually made it. Ooh, looks like Grandal was out there. Did he get injured on that play too? Thought I saw that he got injured. Wish I could challenge. It'd be fun. All right, so we're down to our last out. It's Brian Reynolds, who's been our best hitter in this game. I think 3 of our 4 RBIs are at his hands. Full count, very dramatic, and he goes down swinging. Iglesias gets the save, and we take the L to Atlanta. So a tough one. We were never really in it after that Sean Murphy home run, but we tried. Clevenger, the player of the game, 5 2/3, didn't quite get the quality start, but good enough. Roansy Contreras continues to be bad, which is not good for us because we need him to be better. Go ahead and finish that day. I'll go ahead and simulate these next few games. We've gotten the full injury diagnosis on Nick Gonzalez, and he'll be out for a long enough stint. I think that said 5 weeks. We'll put him on the 10-day IL and look at who we want to call up really quickly to take his place. I think it's going to be the other guy we got in that trade. If I go through here, Xavier Edwards, I think that makes the most sense. He's doing really well at AAA. Again, I like the position versatility, especially being able to play center field. He should be able to do what Nick Gonzalez offered us plus more, and he's a switch hitter, which I like too. So we'll give him the call, but I won't make him a starter in any of my lineups. I think actually, maybe I can make him. I'll make him my starting second baseman against lefties. We'll start there, but I'll switch this to every other game. How about that? All right, and then we'll go ahead and simulate. They actually moved Elder up a start, and that was another loss for us. Lauer versus Elder. We didn't do much to Elder, and in fairness, they didn't do much to Lauer either, though it wasn't great. Looks like there was an error. Who was the error on? It was on Ke'Bryan Hayes, of all people. Hate to see that. Austin Riley was the player of the game here, 2 for 3. Looks like he had a big home run. O'Neal Cruz hit a home run, his 19th of the season. But other than O'Neal Cruz and Eddie Olivares, it looks like our bats were ice cold in this one. And then we will go ahead and simulate this last game against Charlie Morton. Probably expecting a series sweep here, but crossing our fingers. And we actually picked up a huge win. Wow. So got a player development update since it's the end of the month. I'll go over that at the start of the next video, and we'll just look at the box score here really fast before we wrap things up. And it looks like this one was all Bucks, starting in the 3rd inning with a 2 RBI 2-run homer from Brian Reynolds there. Then Rowdy Tellez with a solo shot, Jack Sawinski with a 3-run shot in the 7th, and that was really all she wrote. Charlie Morton going off the wheels, and JT Brubaker, fantastic. 8 strikeouts through 8, no earned. Marco Gonzalez comes in to finish things off, and that's the kind of hitting column you like to see. Hits for almost everyone. Key Brian Hayes, the only guy who didn't get hits. Home runs for Brian Reynolds, Jack Sawinski, Nick Gordon, Henry Davis. Excellent, excellent, excellent final game of the series. And really quickly, I keep doing that. Look at our league standings, which I realized when I was going through those other screens too. I can do that on our home screen. Look at the division. We are still in 4th now. A little bit. I don't think we've gained any ground since this started. Yeah, I guess we've lost a game on Chicago since we started this 3-game series. But we've gained ground on Cincinnati, who's doing terrible. And I think, yeah, we are the 5th worst team in the National League. But clawing our way up to the top. We're 8 games out of the wild card, 6 games out of the division lead. So anything's possible for the Pittsburgh Pirates this year. We'll see how close we can get as we enter the final month before the trade deadline. We have a series against St. Louis coming up where we'll have Paul Skeens pitch our first game there, and then we'll have New York following that immediately after. Then we'll have a short series, or sorry, not a short series. I thought it was going to be a 2-game, but it'll be a 3-game against Milwaukee before we get to that first-year player draft. So I will dedicate a full video to that first-year player draft and give you an idea of what I'm looking for. Maybe that will help you with your guys' drafts, but honestly, I want to say I wouldn't consider myself a draft expert in this game at all. But as always, thanks for watching. Go Bucks, and I'll see you next week.